Hey parents, teachers, what's up? This is Seth with SethPerler.com. And one of the biggest problems, parents, that you're going to be experiencing right now is that your child wants to be with their friends. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this so that I can help break this down for you and help give you some solutions and some answers that might be helpful to you during this very difficult time. My name is Seth. SethPerler.com. I'm an executive function coach based out of Colorado, and I help struggling students who struggle with executive function navigate this thing called education so that they can have a great life. And one of the aspects of executive function, whether your child struggles with it or not, one of the aspects of executive function is decision making. And if you have an adolescent, your child's brain, part of their brain is developing, the social part of their brain is developing a lot right now. So they have a very, 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 very strong desire oftentimes to get away from you, to feel independent, to feel mature, to feel like an adult, even though they don't have these skills or wisdom to be an adult. So they have a very strong desire to get away from you, to start building their own life while connecting more with their friends. So social connection in terms of brain development is extremely, extremely, extremely important to them. Everything in their nervous systems right now is calling out to them like crazy. Go hang out with your friends. Go be with your friends. Go connect with your friends. Everybody, all of us, you, me, and our kids, we all want the same thing. We want a sense of belonging. We want to connect with others. We want to feel like we matter. We all want to feel loved and important and all these things. And in their social networks, hanging out with their friends, they are able to find that place where they feel like they matter. They feel like they're heard. They feel like they're seen. They feel understood. And oftentimes, with the parents, with you, they don't feel like you get them. And that's not your fault. You're doing the best you can. It's part of it is that they are supposed to start wanting to be independent and being on their own, but they don't have the wisdom to know that they are, like I said, with executive function, their decision making around that stuff is not backed with wisdom, is not backed with understanding what it really takes to be adulting. So you're going to be dealing with a lot of resistance around this. And what I want to suggest to you is that it's okay if your conversations are messy and that there are some things that you can do. One thing that you can do at this time is be proactive. Be proactive. So tell your child with what I call pre-conversation, hey, I need to talk. We need to talk. We need to have a family talk. We need to sit down and talk about these things. We're going to chat in about 10 minutes, or we're going to chat tonight, or whenever it is. But let them know what's coming. Let them know we're going to have a serious talk. It's going to last about this long, where it's going to be, what it's going to be about. Why? Because your child, my students often feel like their parents are nagging them or lecturing them or whatever. So you want them, and they don't know how long you're going to be talking, how long the conversation is going to be, how stressful it's going to be. You want them to have a sense of what's coming so that they can mentally prepare, just like you'd want to mentally prepare for certain things in your life. Give them the opportunity to mentally prepare. 2, have the proactive conversation. Sit down, pull out a notepad, pull out a whiteboard, whatever you need to do, have some bullet points, whatever. I would not just go in the conversation. I would have a mini agenda as to what you want to cover, and then ask them, what do you want to talk about? As we start, what do you want on the agenda? What's important to you? Why? Because the more buy-in and ownership and the more they are a part of the process, the more they're going to feel heard. And we want them to feel secure with us. We want them to feel heard. 3, have this talk with them, this conversation with them, but do way more listening than you think you should. So often, the parents that I work with have they want to jump in there and they want to respond to what their child says. They want to be rational. They want to use logic. They want to help their child see the light. They want to explain the thing to their kid that they're trying to explain. Well, that's great, but really be strategic about how you do it, because what often happens is our child is trying to communicate with us and we essentially shut them down and say, no, this is how it is, this is what you need to understand, this is the rational way, the logical way to look at it, here's the wisdom, as if that's going to work when we've tried it a million times and we know it doesn't. So spend a lot more time when you have the impulse to respond to what they're going to say. I want to encourage you to pause, wait a few seconds, see if they have more to say, and then reflect back to, before you go in on your rant, reflect back to them. Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you feel blah blah blah. Okay, so what I hear you saying is this, that, and the other. And then your child can respond, no, that's not what I meant, or yes, that's what I mean. So you can start really using what's called reflective listening or mirroring to really see if you understand them. Why? Because you want them to feel heard. If you think you're just going to lay down the law, maybe some families watching do that, but for most of you, you're going to get resistance. They're going to push every button they can think of because they want to be with their friends. They want to do what they want to do. So they don't want to do the things they don't want to do. So they're going to use every tool that they have at their disposal to be resistant. In some of your families, you have more resistance than others. So I'm talking right now more and more extreme cases where your kid is a master at being resistant to action. So anyhow, you want to have a conversation with them. You want them to walk away feeling heard. So use that reflective listening. Listen more than you think you should. Really ask them if they feel heard and if you are understanding them correctly. So you may not agree with them, but you want to take their concerns seriously. I'm going to say that again. You may not agree with them. You're going to have to draw boundaries sometimes and so on and so forth, but you still want them to feel heard. Cannot express the importance of that. So then you're going to be having this discussion, and this is proactive, and they're going to be telling you what they want to be doing and what sorts of parameters they think they should have or whatever. You want to ask them and get the buy-in. How do you think we should structure our days? How do you think, when should you do your schoolwork if you have schoolwork? If you don't have schoolwork, what should you be doing to invest in your own life and your own future? What about stewardship and participating in the household and showing up and doing your part? And then when they say that they want to go see friends, if you are socially isolating, how can you bring the science into that? How can you bring the facts into that? How can you have that discussion where they have some buy-in and they feel like they've had some buy-in in it, where you're not just telling them, but they're able to be a part of it? So how can you have these difficult conversations? Next, in this conversation, I would strongly suggest putting structures around your upcoming weeks, meaning putting in schedules, posting them on the wall so that there is no confusion about it. So it's not just that you don't expect them to remember it from the conversation, but saying, when are you going to do this? When are we going to do that? When are we going to do this? When are we going to have quality time? When are we not going to talk about anything heavy? When are we going to talk about heavy things? When are we going to do our stewardship or our chores or our responsibilities? When are we going to do schoolwork? When are we going to wake up? When are we going to go to bed? When are we going to have family time? And you want to talk about these things and get them in on a printed, hopefully color-coded visual schedule so that people know what's coming. And then you have to anticipate that even though you have a schedule, that they are not going to want to do everything or be on time for everything. So you want to plan in for that and say, hey, so we're doing schoolwork at noon tomorrow from noon to 4. What if at noon you're not ready? And ask them, and what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? How do you want me to support you at noon when you're like procrastinating? What do you need to do at 11:30? Or if you say noon, does that really mean 12:30? And you want to be, based on your case and your kid's personality, really thinking through, their scripts. You know exactly what they're going to say. You know exactly what they're going to do. So you want to have the discussion so that there's buy-in and that they're walking through the process of figuring out how to configure this schedule. And you want to openly say, yeah, I know you're going to procrastinate. I know you're not going to want to. I know you're going to resist. I know you'll probably say this. So when you say this, and then say to your kid too, what am I going to do? What do you expect from me? How am I going to be frustrating to you? How am I going to be supportive to you? What do you anticipate happening? What do you need from me? And really hear them too. Anyhow, So, those are some of the initial considerations that I wanted to share with you for how you can hopefully be proactive. And again, the more buy-in, the better. If you have antibacterial towels around, like asking them, where should we put these? What should we be wiping now? Not just telling them we need to wipe down this. Um, and seeing what kind of buy, and I know every family is different, but ideally you want to be like, what do we need? We're going to the Are we going to the grocery this week? What do we need from there? What do you want on the list? What would make you feel safe? um, so, and then as far as the social distancing, you can watch YouTube videos with them. There's some amazing people out there that are describing it, so that you're both doing that together and they're seeing the science and the facts there and they have some buy-in. Anyhow, I know this is a difficult time. I hope that at least gives you something to work with. I'll see you in the next one.